Fashion is art. Fashion is self-expression. Fashion is the external, from how you keep your house to what you wear. Fashion is the external, and the psychology is the internal. What they wear every day symbolizes who they are. So, fashion is very important in everyday life. Like I said, it's all around us. Fashion is. People think fashion is just clothing. Even when you're naked, you're a form of fashion. For myself, fashion is just me. It's not any labels. It's not any. It's just me. The external version of myself. Fashion psychology is the study of how color and fashion affect human behavior while addressing cultural norms and cultural sensitivities. This notion of self-expression in fashion, it says who you are. Whatever you would wear would affect my perception of you. It will affect my natural human behavior. Now, there are other, because of my experiences, my particular experiences, I know you may dress a certain way because of your culture, or you may not. You may not identify with your culture. You may dress more Western or whatever. But that's mine as a psychologist. But someone else who doesn't have all of that, inner workings, that inner knowledge, they may see your color and your fashion and may say, oh, I don't know, they may stereotype you and think negative things, or somebody may find you very beautiful and think positive things. So it's this notion of color and fashion, like what you wear affecting human behavior, affects your own behavior, how you feel, and someone else's behavior, how they perceive you. And this is this notion of bridging the gap between perception and reality. This is this notion so I have this slogan. It's called "Styling from the Inside Out" by bridging the gap between perception and reality. And this notion of styling from the inside out, working on the internal to your external, and like basically giving yourself. I hate to use the word makeover, but I use the word styling instead. Styling your inside to reflect your external, your outside, and by doing that, we bridge the gap between perception and reality. So we're being cognizant when you're learning new behaviors to style yourself from the inside and the outside, how it affects your mood, how it affects you as a person, how it's going to affect your future, as well as how others may see you. The two theories that I coined, mood illustration dress and mood enhancement dress. So, this notion of identity, how do I want to feel? I obviously I change my look every 4 years, and I have to determine what that is. So I'll give you an example. So mood illustration. So if I'm laying in bed, instead of saying, "Hey, I don't know what look I want. I have nothing to wear. I don't know what identity I want to have," before you get yourself all worked up and you're like, "I don't have nothing to wear. I don't know who I want to be," So I would just have the client before they get out of bed, just lie in the bed and think, what mood are you currently in? And if you're in a sluggish mood for that day, okay, that's great. That's fine. And I would actually have the client, then determine the mood that they're in, the current mood, and illustrate that mood. That's mood illustration dress. So when they go to their closet and they want to decide what identity they want to have for that day or even for the next 4 years, such as myself, they would wear something that would reflect that illustrates that current mood, which is sluggish. So maybe they would wear leggings and a tee or sweatpants or, some yoga clothes. So that's another way. And then there's another term called mood enhancement dress, whereby if someone wants to find their identity or find, simple, finding what they want to wear, it's a notion of, like I said, before you get out of bed or you're having that time where you want to, you lie on your back, you're in meditation or you're in prayer mode, whatever suits your culture, and you say to yourself, what's my current mood? Again, you ask that same question. And then if you say my current mood is sluggish and you're like, hey, I want to be upbeat, I want to be, sophisticated, for the day or for the next 4 years of my style, you would practice this mood enhancement. So you would then go to your closet and reflect clothes that to an upbeat, sophisticated mood. So that's a way someone can find their identity, as well as a way someone could find what they want to wear. So it could be, it could go from one extreme to be really in depth. Who's my identity? What do I want to be? To something on the other extreme, very simple, very surface, as to what I want to wear for the day.
Okay. So, like,
if someone doesn't practice those two theories, right, and they're just waking up and they just pick whatever their hand lands on, and they just wear that, they're not self-expressing their emotions. They're just maybe, and if you're not self-expressing your emotions through your clothing, you're doing it through somewhere else. So it could be getting mad at people and yelling. It could be anything. It could be road rage. It could come out in different ways. If you're not self-expressing in other ways, it's going to come out in other ways. So, for instance, what I have clients do is self-express through their form of dress, which I told you, the mood illustration dress, mood enhancement dress. That's how that works. And so, if you're not doing that, then you have to be doing it somewhere else. And self-expressing is very important. It's a way to get your feelings out, to get any hurt out, to work through any things that's been, marinating in you for years, some issue that happened to you when you were a child, and such as my client. So this self-expression is very important when it comes to dressing. And if you don't self-express, it could have detrimental effects to your psyche. Because you're not expressing a part of you. You could have anger issues. It runs the gamut. So any psychological issue or mental issue or emotional issue, I would really say emotional issue could really come out from not, self-expressing yourself in the ways in which people see you, which is your fashion.
So does it
also, on the flip side, you could have high self-esteem if you're self-expressing, high confidence, and it exudes from the inside out. So whether you wear a sheet that day or whether you wear, a gown, you're fully expressing yourself, like I said, from this mood illustration or mood enhancement. You're fully saying from the inside out, this is who I want to be. So the effects of that, high self-esteem, inner confidence, where, like I said, it doesn't even matter what you wear. You could be naked for all you care, as long as you're expressing yourself. So it can really have great emotional impacts on the psyche. Well, the definition of fashion psychology, the end of it, it says, while addressing cultural norms and cultural sensitivities. So I frame the definition that way because I want it to be inclusive of all cultures. I feel like when I was in the Middle East and I had a client, the issue there was how do we stay true to the West? No, how do we stay true to our cultural values and the form of how women are supposed to dress versus donning Western dress. So that was a lot of the issues like out in the Middle East. And that's just an example, but how culture can play a role in your form of dress. Like I said, the end of the definition is while addressing cultural norms and cultural sensitivity. So we have to be, as a fashion psychologist, I have to, when I do this work, I have to look at the person's cultural identity, their cultural values. I have to be sensitive to that because that makes up who you are. I think in America, because people have their own separate cultures in America, but then America has its own culture. I think people, when they're trying to be mainstream, they like kind of throw their culture away. And so with fashion psychology, I allow for the client to not throw your culture away. You can still incorporate your culture and still be mainstream. So it's just a balance.
Oh, okay.
Here in America, fashion and gender, so I would say that question is relative to what country you're in and what culture you're in, because here in the American culture, particularly in New York City, gender and fashion, I mean, where you would think like a woman would wear a dress and a man would wear a pants, this is not the case. Actually, for Easter, I saw a man wearing a dress. So this notion of fashion and gender is non-existent. Fashion is fashion. It doesn't matter which gender. It can can make people uncomfortable because of these people aren't following the gender norms. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, well, who's really happy? He's happy wearing that dress. That's when he laid in bed before he put on his clothes. He decided what mood he wanted to be for that day and what identity he wanted to have for that day. And I feel like when you're fully expressing yourself at the ultimate level, then you're happy. Whether you're if you're a man, you're wearing a dress, or you're a woman, you're wearing a suit. Fashion and class is very important because, well, out in the Middle East, the more labels that you had or you owned denoted a certain class. It goes back to culture. In the African American culture in America, they're very flashy. So the more labels, it's very similar to the Middle Eastern culture, whereby the more labels you have, the more money it seems you have. Whereas there are millionaires who are Caucasian, and I mean they wear T-shirts and shorts from like 1970s, and they don't really particularly care about their fashion. But then, they're living in mansions, so it just kind of depends on the culture. But I will say what I've noticed and what I've noticed, fashion psychologically wise, is that people of color in this country, in America, they have to dress up, like dress more sophisticated. Because if you do not, in America, you will be targeted. You may be targeted, let's say may. So, the Trayvon Martin story, he wore the hoodie and he had like sweats or something like that. So he was actually practicing mood illustration. He said, okay, when I walk to the store, I just want to be, sluggish. I want to be comfortable. So he was actually practicing that, but he was targeted because someone thought he was like a thug, a hoodlum or something. So, or like, for instance, I'll use myself as an example. If I wear sneakers and if I wear like more urban dress, more hip hop, more urban dress, people will think I am from the hood or from the projects. So what I have to do is, even though that dress is more urban, where it's more comfortable for me, it's like what I wear if I'm comfortable. What I do, I have to wear sophisticated dress, wear heels, wear like a nice shirt from Express or something, so people won't target me. So people won't target me as a lower class or or whatever. They will think I'm less educated, so I have to appear more educated. So I will say, as far as minorities in this country is concerned, and culture and fashion, it does play a role in that some people may be targeted, some people may not. So as far as like people of color, the form of dress that you wear can or maybe denotes your class. I don't think it should ruin your life, but I think people of color, minorities in America should be cognizant of how fashion and culture play a role. Finding your identity, it can help you in many ways. If you want to be, like I told you, I went through numerous styles. So fashion just denotes, I kind of feel like I'm being redundant, but fashion just denotes who you want to be, who you want people to perceive you as, how do you want to perceive yourself as, your own reality.